report from Treasury.
We have money in the account.
Okay. Secretary report.
The renewals keep trickling in. We're up to about 58 now. We did have one reinstatement that showed up last week. Aaron Pritchard, who joined in 2019, but then didn't renew last year, but then has up and renewed this year.
All right.
So that's kind of where we are, but that still leaves about 40 to either renew or get dropped. So
Wow.
that's kind of where we are.
Well, that's a
Okay.
big bunch.
Yeah, that is a big bunch.
I like
Okay,
doing
okay.
for a killer.
Committee reports. I guess we'll start off with stamp sales.
I routed the APS books to several members, and there were a couple that took some things. So all told, looks like I'll have about $50 in sales for the
Okay.
APS
Wonderful.
books this month.
Well, good.
Okay. As far as the expo goes, Ralph's not on and I don't have anything to add. So moving on to the newsletter.
Well, I was gonna say on the expo, I can start feeling out judges because it seems like it takes weeks, months to get a reply, even via email. So last year was
Right.
kind of a struggle where we got them, and in the end, we had to actually drop 2 of the 3. Oh, look, there's Ralph.
Wait, Ralph
Ralph just came
Ralph
on.
just came in.
Howdy.
Hey, Ralph.
I guess you're both friendly.
No, I
Yeah.
just, there I
Expo
am.
report, Ralph. We'll hold Peter for a minute and Ralph, Expo report.
Ha. I'm sorry, I can't hang around now. Driving me off here. I was just dropping in to say hello.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
But in terms of Expo, I was planning on sending out an email asking to all of our people who have had positions in the past to get confirmations of who's still willing to do what, and any new volunteers that we could get in advance of us having our first planning meeting, which I had planned for February. So
All right.
Okay.
Do you have a date on that?
I don't have a date on that.
Okay.
I've got to make, I was going to try doing it as an in-person thing. And so I want to
Okay.
make sure there's an in-person thing to do.
All right.
All right.
Well, I was gonna say that because I do the judges, that I should start getting feelers out, because I know this year is probably up in the air with a lot of philatelic stuff still. We did manage to get 3 judges and then had to drop 2 of them. So, but I just want to figure out, should I go for 3 this year?
Yes, I think we should go for 3 and plan to do the real thing, because a huge percentage of the population will be vaccinated well before our November date.
Okay, I'll start getting feelers out amongst the various judges. I know I'm sure I had the 2 that they had to be dropped. Understandingly, I think they probably still might be willing to do it this year if their plans don't include something else. And
Okay.
you can probably count on Pat Walker. He's a great. I mean Walters, Patrick Walters, but there's a few people I've always wanted to get, yet we never seem to be able to connect up with them. They're always busy. Like I know Liz Heisey is well known in the circles. I mean, she's judged some of my exhibits over at TexPex. But it's always, we always seem to be competing with the San Diego show, whatever that is, Sandical or.
Well, they just need to move their show.
Yeah.
Well, judging by the only show that went on around our show last time, last year, which was the St. Louis show, which managed to get rejuvenated, we still had better attendance than they did. And they're a national show in a, decently sized metro area.
Ralph, you think February might be a tad too early for an in-person meeting due to COVID? I'm going to get my first shot tomorrow. It's going to be 3 weeks before I get my second shot. I personally won't show up in person until I get both shots. I mean, it's just
don't-
something to think.
Yeah, I don't blame you for that. I'll check in. We can try doing a virtual
Yeah.
first meeting. But uh, I'm concerned about the attendance when there's not a free meal involved.
Yeah, but at this point, I'd still rather not be in a tiny place like that barbecue place there with low ceilings and not good circulation and having to have my mask off so I can eat. I don't have the comfort level for that right now.
I'm with Ken Aldridge on that. I will not attend a meeting until I feel completely inoculated.
Yeah, that's the way Stan and I feel. Once we have both shots, we'll feel more comfortable.
Why is it that
around.
Judy is showing only a wooden desktop?
We're all trying to
Because
get
I can't get my camera to turn around and face us.
It shows what a solid member she is.
Yes,
Yeah.
Thank you, Ken.
good way of looking at it. Well, it sounds like I have a mutiny on my hands if I try doing an in-person one. So we'll look then toward it being a virtual meeting.
We could still do 11 in the morning on a Saturday, I mean, that way, we'll do it virtually and I don't have to spend, $30 in gas and tolls. So,
Yeah, I can appreciate that too. All right, I'll see what I can come up with there. But mostly I want to do some advanced prep work so that the call is not just us chatting. Okay, so
Okay,
I do have one show and tell.
all right.
My wife got me a puzzle, which we actually put together. This is a pretty difficult puzzle. It is
Oh my
all of stamps, but we put the whole thing together. We've disassembled it back to the puzzle box again, but I thought
That's pretty
some
cool.
people would be interested in the fact you can buy a puzzle made up of U.S. stamps.
Yeah.
That's not a difficult puzzle. This is a difficult puzzle.
Yes, that one is.
Yeah, well,
These puzzle people.
we just finished a puzzle that is a puzzle that is in the shape of a dragon, composed of vignettes of various dragons and other stuff.
Oh,
I've seen those.
There are no side pieces that you can trust. There are interior pieces that are smooth sided.
This was
So
that way too.
just getting the edges is an incredible challenge.
I bet. I've seen those. They look like a challenge.
Yeah, it was indeed a
Oh,
challenge.
Evan just came in.
Hi, Evan.
He's not hooked up yet. There he is. Hello, Evan.
Hey, Rick.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
All right. We got a whole bunch of people on here.
Oh, yeah, looks like it.
Can you see our
There's a
group?
dozen of us.
Yeah. I'm not turning on my camera. I just got out of the shower.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, well,
We appreciate that.
yeah, well,
I'm
at least
70.
you're not looking at our Kleenex box.
Yeah. We can't get our camera to turn around. I don't know how to get it to turn around.
Yeah, really. That's what
Pick
what
up the
really
whole-
happened there.
Pick up
is
the whole
Sid-
computer and move it around.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, well, I
Sid
guess
had
we
to dress for 3 weeks.
covered the expo, right?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, Peter, newsletter?
Well, it just went out today.
Yes, I got
Yes,
mine.
looks great. Got
Looks
mine.
great.
12 pages again. So no shortage of been there, done that articles. I think I need to write a book now, but
Yes.
Yeah.
compilation of articles.
so I've already got the next template up, so I'll be working on the March issue starting now. So
Hmm.
whether it'll be 10 or 12 pages, I don't know, but I still have about 40 been there, done that that I myself can write. And it seems like every time I pile through some stamps, I go, hey, and I use that to write the next article, and the other 40 are still laying there, but that's okay. So
Okay. Well, let's see. Webmaster's not on. Any other announcements?
Other than the TSDA resuming stuff
Yes.
only a mile from the previous location.
Yeah, I'll get a email blasted message out to everybody on the expo list, and Skip, if you'd blast it out to all the members.
Okay.
Did you get the schedule?
Yeah, I got it. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, Skip,
When did you send it?
I haven't sent it, but I
Oh,
will.
okay.
I'll
Okay.
send you a copy for the members. I don't have the members on the expo mail out list.
Okay.
April, let me see here. April 9th and 10th is the TSDA stamp fair.
Okay, we got
So
plenty
instead
of
of the
time.
southwest corner of Arapahoe and Central, it's southwest corner of Campbell and 75. So 1 mile further north, essentially, in the Doubletree Hotel.
That's almost like where they used to meet.
Was it? No, a long time ago. It was at the 635 interchange in some hotel.
Yeah.
Which is probably no longer there.
Red
But,
Lion.
Yeah, well, we'll find it.
but this is still Richardson. It's just a mile further north.
Yeah. Okay, well, I guess we move on to show and tell. We've seen Ralph's. Why don't we start off with, I don't have anything, so we'll start off with Ken.
Oh, Ken Aldridge?
Which Ken?
Yeah.
All right, I got a couple things.
Ken
Reminder,
Aldridge.
reminder rates change, what, Sunday, I guess, huh? Oh, that's
For the
backwards.
extra ounce.
Remember Peter put it out in a newsletter here a month ago or so.
Yeah, I
months
mean,
ago.
that's a condensation of the stuff they had like a month or so ago. That at that point, the PRC or whatever, Public Rate Commission or Postal, whatever, hadn't officially approved it yet, but it was scheduled to be. So unless something else changed, I think the big people that are griping are the commercial mailers that use, the second, third, fourth class pre-sort and all that stuff. But that doesn't concern us as collectors really, because we don't mail at those rates. We're not worried about, well, gee, we're gonna have to pay 1/10 of a cent more for some item. But as far as I know, it's all gonna be in effect. I mean, 55 cents is still the forever rate, but practically everything else around it has changed, like up to 10% or more in some cases.
Wow.
Well, somebody once said the road to humility is not well traveled. I think it was Julius Caesar or somebody. Well, tonight we're going to travel a road, a humility road, and I'm on it. I ordered a stamp, a Cypress stamp from a guy it was off a Hip Stamp anyway. And I got a bunch of mail when this came in. I'll just show you this. And I just quickly glanced at this. And I told my wife, I said, I didn't order that stamp. And I went through the other mail and so on. And then a couple hours later, I got looking at it and I said, well, I got to send him an email because that's not the stamp that I ordered. And within a half hour, I got an email back and he said, what you're looking at is not a stamp. What you ordered is behind that in a cellophane envelope. What I'm looking at is just a piece of, well, it's just an advertisement for, I don't even, some kind of, that was a great big oops.
Oops.
Yeah.
Then the lastly, I thought this was kind of interesting. I don't know how well you can see this, but there is a boat on the Detroit River that's got its own zip code. And they started delivering mail to people on working the freighters in the Great Lakes in 1895, I think it was. But this riverboat started delivering mail. But in April 10th, 1978, post office gave them their own zip code. So here's a postcard of the boat. And then there's a couple of special commemorative envelopes that the Detroit Stamp Club or somebody did commemorating the event. I thought it was kind of interesting. What they do is they go up to a freighter and they honk their horn or whatever. the freighter drops the pail down, they put the mail in there and they pull the pail up and then they go on to the next freighter.
How cool is that?
That sounds like what they did in Tonga.
Oh, really?
Or
Yeah.
basically a mobile post office.
Yeah. So anyway, it's still active. It's 48222 is their zip code. And take one more moment. Everybody recognize this? The Sam Houston
Mhm.
Yeah,
came out. That was the very first sheet of stamps that included a copy or a picture of Mr. Zip. January 10th,
Oh.
1964.
How cool.
Are you collecting Mr. Zip blocks now?
Well, I got this one, and then I've got 2 or 3. There's 3 different Mr. Zip designs. This one where he's kind of like this, and then there's one where he's kind of with his hand on his shoulder, and then I think there's one where he's pointing or something. So it's kind of fun to try to find those that something to fool around with.
That is
That's it. I'm done.
Okay.
okay. Skipper?
I don't have anything tonight.
All right, Peter?
Well, I can share my screen here. I'll just, it's philatelic. Let me see if I can find the right browser. Here it is. As you guys know, I mean, over the years, I've always told people, hey, you got a, philatelic subject that's near and dear to your heart. Why not, put it on a website? And, you don't have to do much. In fact, it was even free. And I have, if you follow my mouse cursor here, at least this many websites at webs.com, including one where I've been keeping the, what I call the public facing newsletters for the club, because the groups that I owe or old Yahoo groups weren't public, they were only for members, but at least allowed me to get the newsletters out. So that's kind of the site that I had right here, where I had the newsletter. I mean, I put a few other things up there as well, stuff relating to the club, but it wasn't meant to be a club website, primarily for the newsletter, but I put other stuff up, including dealer. You can tell how out of date this is, but primarily, this is the section that I updated, and then you click on this and, up pops the newsletter. The trouble is all of this will go away. So all the sites you see down here are going to go away. And I didn't want to, reinvent the wheel. Like, let me see, here's St. Vincent postcard. So I had one here, about that and, so on and so forth, where, you can quickly get some stuff up and that's all great. But anywhere from 8 to 12 or more years invested in all of these sites, and basically bye-bye, which kind of sucks. But
how come they're disappearing?
well, years ago, the webs.com outfit was called Free Webs, and then Free Webs became webs.com. And at some point, Vista Print, which is, a mail order type printing outfit that prints, business cards and calendars. And I've bought from them for years, cards, calendars, and other stuff you can print things on. And they decided that they were just going to get rid of it. You
How much
could
hard drive
pay
space
for,
do you have available?
webs.com gave you a lot of features, for the buck. I mean, you could even sell stuff. So if I had a DVD, I could sell it here with pictures on it and, all sorts of other stuff that you could do with it for free. They gave you a lot of features for nothing. But free isn't always the world's best business model, I guess. And if your site wasn't already a paid site there, it's going away. And you have up until March 31st to, copy off your data and do something else with it. Or of course, you can go to Vistaprint now and from their site, then have a paid site. Well, $5 per month per site times 12 sites, that's like $720 a year that I really don't feel like spending. I already have a plan with a registrar for my PCLIS.com, more business-oriented site, and I decided, well, why don't I just take all my other sites, and you look at the left side here, and put all of these sites here. It's a lot of copying and pasting and slightly different versions of ways of doing things, but I should be able to eventually, between now and March 31st, move all of these sites over to my own site. And I called my site, I own stvincentstamps.com, and that's great, but that's kind of very specific. And if all of a sudden I have Audi stamps on a stvincentstamps.com site, might seem a little weird or just doesn't make sense. So I had to come up with a new domain name, and the one that I chose, you see it highlighted in my browser up here, is betweentheperfs.com. I figured that makes sense, right? And that name was not taken yet. So a lot of times when I spell it out, you'll see me spell out the 3 words with capital B, capital T, and capital P. That makes it a little easier to read. Computers don't care whether you capitalize a domain name or not. It comes out to the same place. So I've already, you know, started creating pages, and I will eventually put stuff here, more photos and things. I've started to take some stuff over. I haven't really done much here yet. Other portions of it are pretty much blank. I do give away thousands and thousands of stamps every year, and all I ask for people is to send me a self-addressed stamped envelope, or, you know, if you don't have that or you're in a foreign country, you can send me an IRC or $1, or you can even PayPal me $1. Not that I'm trying to be cheap, but I've given away 1,000 envelopes worth of stamps, and since they're mostly at least half of them are international, I mean, it probably would have cost me close to $1,000 out of pocket just to mail stamps to free people. Free stamps to people. The stamps themselves come from the APS, but I actually had to pay the APS like $20 to ship me a large priority mailbox. So here's a picture of the tub that I ended up with after, you know, weeding out the crap. Close cut stuff where all the perfs are cut off on postcard backings, and just, you know, stuff I don't want in the hands of, you know, beginning collectors. But anyway, so I've managed to duplicate that part and so on, but I will eventually put all this in here. And yes, let me see, I have to go look down here. I did already start putting the newsletters on here. So at the bottom here, Mid-City Stamp Club, I've already put, well, anything from December to the January ones in here. I'll maybe go back and fill in some of the others. I'm not sure what my storage limitations are that I've been given off top of my head. With the website, I was limited to 40 megabytes, which isn't much. Hopefully here I'll have more space and I'll fill in the rest of these later. So at least I own this site. It's mine, you know, as long as I just pay the annual maintenance, you know, renewal fees for the domain, and then some minor hosting fees. I'm not going to have some company like Vistaprint, you know, call the shots on everything that I do. So so that's where I'm going with some of this. So, you know, and if I want to, I can keep creating other links to other things here. I just have to do some work between now and the next, what, 6 weeks or so. Or no, 2.5, no, 8, no, was it end of March? So 10 weeks maybe, which sounds like a lot, but isn't. You know, you can easily get sucked into spending a couple hours fine tuning stuff. But you know, for now, I just want to get it over here so the other sites can go away.
Okay, well, thank you, Peter.
Oh, you're welcome. So let's see, stop share. Oh, it works. Okay.
Okay, anything else?
We haven't, Ken Aldrich, I mean,
No,
Ken,
from Peter.
oh, wait, okay. I think Peter said, Peter, you said you were done?
Yeah, that's my only real show and tell.
Okay. All right, Ken,
Wills.
Wills.
Okay, well, I put together a sort of a little mini presentation on a topic that might interest you. We'll see. I'm going to start by asking you all, what was the very first stamp ever issued?
Well, it's probably not the penny black.
Well, it is.
By that question.
It is. What
Issued by
was
the
the
government?
date? What was the date of issue of the penny black?
May 1st, I believe, or in May
Yes,
something.
it was for sale on May 1st, but it was not valid for use until May 6th. However, Scott has 5 other items that were issued on the very same day. What are they?
New York Postmaster Provisions.
Well, the first thing is the tuppenny blue, which, you know, the penny came out and the tuppenny came out. Just because 1 penny is less than 2 pence, it gets number 1, but they're both simultaneous. And 1 penny paid for half an ounce and 2 pence paid for 1 ounce. So that's why you had both. Now, what are the other 4? Their Scott numbers in Great Britain are U1, U2, U3, and U4. And they were also available for sale on on the 1st of May, 1940, and valid for use on the 6th.
Are those
So-
the mold-ready envelopes, or?
Yes, you've got it. Okay, so I'm
We're
going to
in a
show
bonus
you.
point?
I'm going to show you now. Where do we go? I'm confused now on this share thing.
There you go. That's working.
No, that's not what I want. This is what I want. This is a picture of the Mulready envelope. The Mulready came out in two versions. There was a sheet and an envelope. And what I have here is my copy of the envelope, but it's not complete. It's been torn off at the bottom here. You can see the lines of the envelope, and you can see the sealing wax at the bottom. The envelope was issued as like a lozenge shape without any gum or anything like that. It wasn't actually an envelope until you folded the corners in and sealed them, usually with sealing wax.
Cool.
So this is the front of the envelope, and Mulready's design was showing Britannia with the shield showing the Union Jack and the lion, and you'll see there's a Maltese cross cancellation on this because they had to be cancelled. And you'll see that Britannia is distributing messages left and right. And on the left, you'll see Africa, and on the right, you'll see, Asia, and on the right, you'll see America. And below on the left and the right are people reading their mail that they're getting through this new development of having mail going out under a government monopoly, which had not existed before. It was passed by Act of Parliament in early 1840, and they produced for sale both an envelope and a letter form. And I'll talk about that in a moment. The Mulready, both the envelope and the letter form were printed in black and in blue, just like the stamps were. Black was 1 penny, blue was 2 pence. And you could buy these at the post office. Now, why are they called Mulready? Well, the answer to that, I think I've got a picture somewhere here. Let me see if I can go to that. Hold on just a minute. I don't know where I've hidden that. It's, I think I've got that on another window. No, yeah, here we are. No, it's not coming up. Well,
Were there ever any 1 pence mold-ready envelopes that had a penny black added to make a 2 pence rate?
That's correct. That's what was done. Yeah, yeah. Now here I've got a. I'm a little bit confused here. Anyway, I had some pictures to show you of what the artist William Mulready did. He was an Irishman in his 50s who had already established a reputation. There are a lot of his paintings in museums in Britain, like the Tate, and so he was commissioned to design this. So this and the stamps were equally available in 1840. And what happened was that people didn't care for the Mulready. They preferred using the stamps on their own stationery, and so this came into a lot of ridicule. And after a year or so, they decided just to withdraw it, and they recalled them from all the post offices and destroyed them.
Oh,
Yeah.
Up on the left there, that's shown partially. Is that where the other thing you wanted to show us at? Because it looks like you're clicked on the upper.
Oh, okay. Yes, I'm going to show you some more just in just a minute. Now, I told you that these envelopes were not really envelopes. They were unfinished envelopes. You had to fold them all together and do that. So why did you have letter pages as well? Because the thing that was the prevalent thing in those days was you wrote out the letter and then you folded it up, and having done that, you then folded it further until all it showed was the address that you were sending it to, and then you completely folded it until the front looked just like this. You can see this was sent out from Ipswich, and on the previous thing you'll see a date here of 1807. Ipswich is in southeast England, and there's an Ipswich postmark here. So you could either prepay before the stamps came out, or the recipient had to pay. And when the penny black and the Mulreadys came out, the instructions were, if you prepaid it, it cost 1 penny, but if you didn't prepay it, which was quite often the custom in those days, then the recipient had to pay 2 pence. But before the penny postage, postage was really quite expensive. And this one was not prepaid. And you can see here, 1 and 9. This is 1 shilling, and this stroke separates shillings from pence, 1 shilling and 9 pence. The stroke actually is a corruption of the letter S. So the recipient in those days was going to have pay quite a lot. And so the Mulready people recognized that people used not to use envelopes very much. They would instead fold the letter just like this, and then put a stamp on it. That continued a lot during the middle of the 19th century. And I've been wondering, nobody seems to do that today. I don't think I've ever received a folded letter with a stamp and an address on the front. I'm going to try sending a few and see what happens.
But
So,
that would be fun.
so that's what I had to show you. And now let me see if I can turn this off again.
Yeah.
So what was 1 shilling 9 pence in 1807 and compared to today's dollars?
1 shilling and well, they reckon that a penny was about equivalent to a pound today. So this was really expensive. But this particular letter was a legal bill with some high pound amounts in it, and so also sealing wax was very important, and so when the whole thing was folded up, you sealed the thing, and as you can see, to open it, you had to more or less tear the paper from under the sealing wax, and people would melt the sealing wax, drop it on there, and use a signet ring to stamp it to show who they were. People had signet rings with arms or names or whatever, and they would stamp that into the wet sealing wax, and it would set.
Oh, cool.
So that's what I wanted to share with you.
Very good.
So Mulready was quite an artist, and we know him now just because of the Mulready cover.
Okay. Well, Ken, I'm wondering, how many pence were in a shilling?
12 pence in 1 shilling and 20 shillings in 1 pound.
Okay. Because I collect some of the British stuff, and I've never figured out the pence and the shillings and all that.
Well, it goes back way back. The initials LSD stand for the Latin words libra, which is a pound, solidarius, which is a name of a Roman coin, which was silver, and D is denarius, which is the Latin for the equivalent of a low value like a penny. And denarius has come into use. The derivations of that are dinar, for example, on many currencies.
Yeah.
And
So is
the
that why
pound,
D is-
the pound was literally a symbol of weight, because 1 pound of silver coins was the value called 1 pound, and that continues today.
So is
And
that why
so
D?
the Italian lira comes from exactly the same source.
Is that why D is used as an abbreviation for penny?
Yes, denarius. Yes, that's right.
I'll be darned. Well, thank you, Ken.
Yes, that was fascinating.
Yeah. Saul.
I thought you might find some interest in that. Thanks.
Yes.
I don't have anything today.
Nothing. Okay. John.
I don't have anything to present. I haven't gotten quite as good as you fellows on the Zoom, but let me give you 2 subjects. This Christmas, after a couple of years of absence, we went back to our philatelic holiday greetings, and I think I copied Rick on at least one example of them. This coming year is going to be all devoted to chronicling our Texas history. and it's going to culminate with a holiday greeting based on Texas. So I'd like to let the members know, and Rick's already given me some guidance to a major stamp and cover dealer there in your area. If any of you have any thoughts about Texas philatelic items, such as Texas programs for Texas issues, or block Texas covers, or in the case of this holiday season, if any of you have done this before and would like to share with me your thoughts or see how I did this year's, could you drop me an email? And Rick, I have a few of the holiday packets left. So I would like to send you all an example of how we put together this season's holiday packet. And it included a first day program from the issue of the South Carolina Tricentennial stamp out of Charleston, the recognized first day cover, and then because of my wife's and my participation with the Historical Society at the university we graduated from, we were able to get a whole series of special postcards, which our Columbia, South Carolina Stamp Club took over and had hand canceled at the university post office. So what we were trying to do was to include 2 or 3 examples of philatelic history in the holiday packet. I'd like to do basically the same thing for our Texas heritage. So that's one thought. My email is properly shown in the directory. If any of y'all would like to see an example of how we did this year's and maybe give me some thoughts on next year's or this year we're in now on Texas. The next thing is, and Peter has already shown me the answer to this one with his website. We're right now chronicling our family up in Grapevine, and we've just cleared out a house in San Antonio. And I was surprised to get a lot of material, both philatelic type and newspaper clippings, dealing with my great grandfather, who was an early doctor, dentist, and pharmacist in Grapevine. So we're assembling some philatelic things, but today I came across a couple of mailers for his patent medicines, circa 1910, 1915. And they seem to have come from a pharmaceutical company that he founded called Grapevine Pharmaceutical. So my question to you guys with your ties there is, if any of y'all know of any of the members of the clubs that are involved in either the pharmaceutical or medical professions, or maybe retired, could you perhaps have them give me an email also? Because I'd like to share with them some of the things that I've discovered and see if I can find some additional material in your area. For example, he apparently graduated from something called the Fort Worth Medical College, which was in a place called Alvarado, Texas. And apparently that's right in y'all's area.
Yeah.
John, as you know, I live in Grapevine, and there is a Grapevine Historical Society, and I suggest you get in touch with them. I don't have the details, but I'm sure you can get it either from the Grapevine website or by contacting the library. They would help you on that.
Well, I talk to them almost every week.
Okay.
But what my stuff is you have to explore a little bit deeper. For example, I talked to this town called Alvarado today. Apparently it's part of 3 towns that are grouped together.
Yeah.
And I talked to a very, it's kind of like what Peter's doing with his website. They're stepping into the 21st century, but this woman was extremely bright, so bright that she said, I know that medical college exactly. It became part of the Texas Christian University system. And she said, you're in exactly the right spot. So my question, Ken, is really, would that be a place we would have any members in the club from that could give me some help in these specific locations?
I doubt it. I'm the only member of the club that actually lives in Grapevine, even though we have our expo at the Grapevine Convention Center. And I haven't really got involved myself, but there is a very a substantial book, about 600 pages or so, of grapevine history that you could probably get through your own local library borrowing system.
Well, I've got 2 or 3 copies of that. We're in that, but basically, in fact, the guy is actually mentioned in the book.
Yes.
But what I never thought about was, particularly as I'm working all this year on Texas with my Texas stamps and covers and everything, and going to do the holiday thing, and also having found the one of which I'd always look for when we cleaned out my dad's house in San Antonio. He had gotten a couple of the patent medicine mailers. From the family. I had never ever seen them. I've got them right here. I even showed them to the woman Alvarado today. She and actually you can read the patent number on the thing. And I actually went to the patent office today, and the number doesn't match with their patent number. So I really need to find people professional like yourselves, because you know it's difficult to track this stuff down when you get these things. But I just wanted to throw that out for you fellows, so that if any of y'all are interested in either giving me some pointers on the holiday packet for this coming year, or this information about the medical and pharmaceutical industries in your area, just shoot me an email.
I'd say we do have several doctors that are members of the club. I guess we could put something in the newsletter and get their attention that way, and have them get in touch with you.
Well, that's exactly what I found from Peter's thing. One of the things I saw on Peter's website, which I'm going to send him an email on, is he apparently is an expert in airport or airfield stamps and philatelic items. And we've done, the reason we were in Texas back in the 50s was we were doing the early work at the airports, both in Houston and Fort Worth. I don't know if y'all have go far enough back. Most people don't even realize Fort Worth actually had an airport and everything.
Still does.
Oh, Amon Carter?
No, Meacham.
Oh, no, I didn't realize that. The only one but you know, basically when we were going there, Dad was traveling. Peter will know that. And Peter, this is one of the things I'm looking for. He did the original airports in Iceland and Ethiopia and Oman and places like that. And Peter's website looks like he probably has renderings from all those places and everything.
Let me qualify that. There's only been like 2 US stamps that have airports on them or as a subject. Now, there's a whole bunch of first flight covers and airmail dedication covers here in the US. I don't do any of that. I primarily do stamps only, and most of the stuff will relate to the foreign stuff. Simply because yes, I landed in St. Kitts and St. Vincent and couple other islands down there, and yes, I once landed in Reykjavik airport, and you know I'm not as well traveled as Ray Cartier by any means, but you know, and that's where that grew out of. But more the international side of things, not so much domestic stuff, other than the 2 stamps that are on our, you know.
Are you talking about the Burden Flight Terminal in Dulles?
Yeah, Dulles was on like a 20-cent stamp of architecture, and there was one other one I forgot.
Well, the one that comes to my mind is Burden Flight, and that was Dad's first project after we left Texas. And so I will definitely, if you don't have a cover, because I had an artist up here in Connecticut when that series of stamps came out, I had her do a rendering with the Burden Flight as the main focus of the artwork that she did. So that's exactly what I'm talking about, because basically Eros Saarinen did both Dulles and the Burden Flight. And we were sitting right here to show you how philatelic activity really comes to benefit. We're sitting there, and I mentioned the Burden Flight Terminal, and I was putting together with this Connecticut artist the cover. And the guy says, I was a protege with Eros Saarinen at the University of Michigan right before he died. I said,
he also did the St. Louis airport.
Of course, I didn't realize that. Well, basically, we lived right outside of Dulles for about 6 years, but he died right before he was going to move the whole operation from the University of Michigan to Yale, and he died right during the time that they were doing both Dulles and Burden Flight and everything. But it's great. Just the way Peter structured his website, I really picked up on that. So the work you guys are doing is phenomenal.
Well, John, Alvarado is a small little community with a highway running through it, and it's basically known as a speed trap. And rumor has it that in order to attract a cop to come to that town, they had to open a donut shop.
Well, here you can kind of see what I collect on the airports on stamps.
Yep.
I mean, it
Yep.
can range from like that Saudi Arabia one that's highlighted, or revenue stamps, like airport departure tax stamps.
Yep.
All of this kind of stuff. I've got a whole boatload of Russian envelopes featuring airports. Postal cards from Germany featuring Hanover. But there was also a plane there. Actually, my grandfather worked for this place, the Hanover Messe, which is the convention center there. And of course, I think the one of these was featured on my website here. I actually landed at this airport a couple of years ago. That one is actually now shut down, and they built a new airport on St. Vincent that can actually accommodate jets. I've landed at Golden Rock Airport in St. Kitts one time. Obviously I've not been to the Middle East, but that's actually you're kind of a quick view through my collection of airports on
So
stamps.
it's primarily stamps and not covers and things like that.
Very few covers, only if they are postal stationery items like all those Russian ones or some of the German post or Swiss postal cards. Mostly it's just stamps.
Yeah, that's exactly like we have the bird in flight, of course, on the stamp and on the sheet and also on the first day cover. But it's just the way you had your site organized is perfect.
Yeah, I mean, I got a CD I sell with this on it because again, it's, but USA, where did I have it on here? Yeah, USA, that's the Dulles one that
That's
we've
Dulles,
got
yep.
here. And actually, the TWA terminal was on this particular stamp a couple of years ago, and that's it. Those are the only two stamps.
No, that's what we call the bird in flight. Basically, that was what the company my dad was with and I finished my career with, actually won a concrete award for design of the concrete forms that we had to use to build that thing. It's a hotel now. It's a historic landmark, so it'll never disappear.
Yeah, that's right. I think I heard about that. I mean, this just grew out of me collecting, me having landed at a handful of airports around the world and saying, hey, they're on a stamp, so why not collect that,
Yep.
So.
Okay, well, thank you, John. Evan, you have anything for show and tell?
I don't have anything to show and tell, but I do want to give you guys an update. I did talk to Jim Myers on the website for Mid Cities, and he did give an update to me 2 days ago saying that he approves it now. Now he's waiting on the, let me see the message. He said he's waiting on the chairman to approve to go live with the new site. I'm going to share on the chat message here. I'm going to share with everyone the URL. Let me see if I can do that.
Will it change? I guess.
Not a lot. He's been updating the content a lot, meaning he's been updating the some of the copy, some of the text on the site. But I think he's happy where it's at now, and I think he's ready to move forward in making it live. That's what.
Let me ask you a question. The only 3 email addresses that the club has under mid-citystampclub.com actually go to me. So will that change in any sort of way, or will these be ported over to a different registrar, or how will that work?
Yeah, no, I'm not touching the emails. Essentially, the emails could stay the way they are.
Okay.
And what I'm doing is just, so when you go to the domain level, there's 2 types of records. One is the A record, which is for the HTTP, meaning the website, and there's MX record for mail servers. So I'm not touching the mail server. So wherever the emails are hosting, they're going to stay the way it is. I'm just going to take over the website. That's all I want. Okay. And I just shared the link on the chat session here. And I think his message was, I haven't heard back yet from the club president we'll send him another email. We'll let you know when I hear something, Jim. So
Evan, based on what you showed us at the Euless meeting like a year or two ago, is what is going to be the final one along the same lines, or?
yeah, I just sent you the link if you want to take a look at it on the chat session there.
Oh, chat. Okay.
I'm on my phone, so if you want to share your screen and pull it up,
I
you
see
can
it.
take a look
Okay.
at it.
Is that available to just browse through later tonight when I got
Yeah,
some time? or-
yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. That's the test URL, and you guys go through it. And I will have you are talking about Peter. You have 40 megabytes or something space. I'll
Yeah,
have
it's at the club's website. I mean, none of us really seems to know who manages what's there. Somebody's been paying the domain fee all these years,
Yeah.
and we don't know who because we've never gotten a bill for hosting or domain registration or anything else. I set up the email addresses years ago just so people can send something to the club without having to go to a person's personal email address first.
yeah. So here's
So
what
I
I'll
have-
say. I mean, I have plenty of space. I mean, I think we got a terabyte space of server space, so we're not gonna have any issues with spacing. So if you want to
But the
upload
older-
your PDF files,
How will the domain change? Because now it's mid-citystampclub.com with a dash in there.
Yeah.
The same thing without a dash, or?
no, I'm not touching domains or anything. So all we're doing is the hosting. So whatever the domain name we have, that's gonna stay the same,
Oh, you're just
unless
gonna,
you want to buy a different domain name.
no, but I mean, you're just gonna move that domain that we have now to a different server with a different site to go with it, right?
Yeah. So the domain, wherever the domain was purchased, is gonna stay there. Okay, not touching that. Only
Yeah.
thing that I'm
20
doing
years
is,
ago, and nobody knows.
well, if nobody knows, that's a different issue we have to solve with Jim, because I assume Jim has access to all of that.
There is some
Uh,
contact out there, and every, other year or so, our entire site and emails go down because somebody didn't pay the domain renewals. Yet nobody knows who then picks up that cost. The club's never been billed, as far as I know from Judy. She's never paid a check to anyone for
No. Nope.
domain registration or hosting.
I think that was arranged by Bill Bradshaw way back when.
Right, but somebody's still paying for this. I mean, it's not free.
I don't
Somebody's
think so.
incurring a cost.
Well, they haven't come forward, so let's not look a gift horse in the mouth and let's just,
Yeah, but the
Right, but the gift
problem is
horse
it
may
could all
pass
disappear.
away someday, so we may have
well,
to.
then we'll find out.
But I think this looks great, Evan.
Oh, it
is
does.
this
It
a WordPress?
no, Rick. So we have our own proprietary platform that we
Okay.
built this in. However, Jim has access to the back end, so he's the one who's been going through it and making copy changes and things of that nature. So
Okay.
once we go live with it, I'll give access to Peter so he can log in there and upload his files. It's fairly easy to use. Fairly, I say. It could be easier. Ken has his website in my platform. It shouldn't be that difficult to work on the system.
No, I'm very happy using it, Evan. It's very efficient and it keeps a record of previous versions as well. So if you make a
Correct.
mistake, you can go back to an older version.
Okay. Well,
Before we go, I have, if I may, are you finished, Evan?
Yes, I'm done. Thank you, Ken.
Okay. I just have some pictures of Mulready that you might like to see since we were talking about that. Here you are. This is I did share screen. Why isn't that working? Share. Okay. There we go. These are paintings by William Mulready, and many of these are in museums. And in black and white, you'll see a picture of William Mulready himself, who designed that thing for use in 1840. I thought you'd just like to maybe see that.
yeah.
He was quite an artist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you, Ken. Rick, do you have anything? Show and tell? Rick?
You're muted, Rick.
Sorry about that, guys. I don't have
Yeah.
anything to show, but I wanted to let you guys know that meeting this morning with the APS, and it was on judging for exhibits. And they were really concerned about virtual exhibits because they don't know how to handle it really. So there was quite a big discussion going on about that. Liz Heisey was there. It was quite an interesting subject, and there were several different opinions on how to handle those things, because it seems like you're going to need to go from either physical exhibits or virtual exhibits.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody has really figured that out yet. So they're in the process of trying to figure all that out and set some examples. But
Okay.
it looks like everything's going to have to be done pretty quickly, because a whole lot of shows are coming up and
Yeah.
nobody knows how to handle it. So it's quite a mess.
Welcome to the new world.
Yeah, really. Jump right into the 21st century.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, well, this was our January meeting, and I was going to ask the group, do you want to continue the Euless meetings by Zoom for February and March and possibly April?
Why not?
I would love
That's what
to.
I'm saying. Why not?
Yeah.
I mean,
We had 11 here.
yeah,
Yeah,
Well,
at
that's about
least
the
for
same as we had
February.
at 5.
we had more than normally shows up at Euless.
Well, it's not in Euless, it's on Zoom. That could be, anybody could join in, they could be from, doesn't matter where you're physically from. You don't have to drive now. So
Okay,
I did have one question. Skip, did you mail this out to everybody in the club, or just you
Yes,
went out to everybody?
yes, I usually use the BCC because some people don't want their email shared.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
So I always send it out, it says undisclosed recipients,
Yeah.
but
Right.
it was sent to everybody that has an email
Okay.
in the club.
Well, this was kind of, short noticed that
Yeah.
maybe that's why there's,
I apologize for that. That's totally my fault. I let Dave
No.
pick up
No.
on.
Yeah, I forgot about it too.
it's a new year and we're just getting our head cleared out from last year. And
right.
So
Okay.
this should go in the if we're going to continue doing this, it should go in the calendar. It should be in the newsletter and on
Yes,
the website.
yes.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
Peter,
I'll
if you-
put
Just
it
so you
on
guys
the
know,
Facebook
the
site, too.
go ahead, Rick. Sorry.
I said I'll put it on the Facebook group site as well.
Okay.
Evan, you need to check that out too. I don't think you've been on
Yeah.
that.
yeah,
Sure.
I like what you're doing with the club Facebook.
Okay, and also on the Facebook page, I put John's Christmas thing from last year out there.
Okay.
It's available for people to look at if you want.
Okay, I haven't seen that. Okay, I'll have to go back and look at it then. All right.
It's
And Rick, do we owe you anything for Zoom?
Yeah, but I don't think I've got an invoice from them.
Okay, well, come up with an invoice, mail it to me, or just email it to me
Okay.
and I'll get you paid.
Okay.
I'm still holding $37.50 worth of stamps for that first Zoom that you paid for.
Good. Good. Hang on to it, Stanley.
Now,
Whenever I
one
get
day when we meet in person, I can pass them on to you.
whenever I get my second shot, I'll come over here and get them from you.
There you go.
Okay, yes, yes,
Is
Okay.
the Granbury meeting next Tuesday,
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
Yes.
7 o'clock?
yes.
Yes.
Oh, that's another thing we need to talk about is 7 o'clock good for this meeting, or do we want to do it at 6?
I think 7 works perfect.
How about, Peter, you were concerned about 7? Is it-
Well, I made dinner early today and we were eating by 6:30, and by 6:45, I had the dishes washed and I was up in my office.
All right, well,
All
then we'll
right.
just keep it at 7.
So it is possible.
Okay,
Okay.
good, good. I'm glad you can get it to work in your schedule.
Okay, well, on that note, then I'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting.
Thanks.
Thanks so
Thanks,
much
Rick.
for everybody participating, and we'll see you either at Arlington or Euless or Granbury.
All right, guys, have a good one.
Take
Yeah.
care.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
And we'll try to get the camera fixed.
Yes. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.